Most gardeners throw away the one waste product that could secretly turn their dying plants into neighborhood showstoppers overnight. Your morning coffee ritual just created something worth more than gold for your garden, and you probably dumped it straight into the trash. Those wet brown grounds sitting in your filter aren't garbage. They're plant superfood that gardeners pay premium prices for at nurseries. Americans toss 6 million tons of coffee grounds into landfills every single year. That's enough nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus to feed entire city parks. Makes sense, right? We're literally throwing away one of nature's most perfect fertilizers while spending hundreds on chemical alternatives that harm our soil. But here's where it gets interesting. Not all coffee grounds work the same magic. Fresh grounds straight from your grinder pack acidic punch that can actually hurt your plants. Used grounds? They're completely different animals. The brewing process pulls out most of that harsh acid, leaving behind gentle nutrients that plants absolutely devour. The weird part is what happens to all those minerals during brewing. Your hot water extracts the bitter compounds and extreme acidity, but leaves behind the good stuff. Nitrogen for green growth, potassium for strong roots, phosphorus for brilliant blooms. It's like nature's own slow-release fertilizer factory operating right on your kitchen counter every morning. Then there's the bonus most people never consider: those paper coffee filters decompose beautifully in soil too. No need to scrape every last ground out. Toss the whole thing into your garden bed, and both the grounds and filter break down into rich organic matter. Your earthworms will thank you later. Well, speaking of acid levels, here's something that surprises even experienced gardeners. Most people think coffee grounds turn soil acidic because coffee tastes bitter. Wrong. The brewing process pulls nearly all that acid into your cup, not your compost bin. Used grounds actually hover around neutral pH, perfect for most vegetables and flowers. This changes everything about how we think about kitchen waste. Every morning, you're creating two products: the caffeinated energy boost you drink and the plant energy boost you discard. One wakes you up for 8 hours. The other can feed your garden for months. But why does this matter beyond saving money on fertilizer? Because synthetic plant foods wash away with the first heavy rain. Coffee grounds stick around, releasing nutrients slowly as they decompose. Your plants get steady meals instead of feast or famine nutrition cycles that stress root systems and create weak growth. And the environmental impact? Staggering. Those 6 million tons of grounds going to landfills could transform struggling gardens across America. Instead of decomposing anaerobically and creating methane gas, they'd be building healthy soil and growing food. The best part about this whole discovery is how simple it becomes once you know what you're dealing with. No complicated mixing ratios or expensive equipment required, just grounds, soil, and the knowledge of how different plants respond to this caffeinated garden boost. Some plants absolutely thrive with coffee additions, while others will revolt against it completely. Your coffee grounds don't just disappear into the soil. They become tiny architects rebuilding your garden's foundation from the ground up. Each particle acts like a microscopic sponge, creating the perfect balance between drainage and moisture retention that most gardeners spend years trying to achieve. Here's where it gets interesting. Those coffee particles are roughly the same size as coarse sand, which means they slip between clay particles and break up compacted soil. But unlike sand, they're organic and break down slowly, creating stable air pockets that last for months. Your plant roots can finally breathe properly while still getting the water they need. The pH mystery that confuses everyone: well, used coffee grounds hover around 6.5 to 6.8 on the pH scale. That's practically neutral territory, perfect for most vegetables and flowers. The acidity everyone talks about stays in your morning cup, not in the leftover grounds. But the real magic happens underground where you can't see it. Earthworms absolutely devour coffee grounds like they're at an all-you-can-eat buffet. These soil engineers digest the grounds and excrete nutrient-rich castings that cost gardeners $40 per bag at fancy garden centers. Your free coffee grounds just became a worm food factory producing premium fertilizer. Then there's the bacterial explosion happening in your soil. Coffee grounds contain carbon and nitrogen that soil bacteria use as rocket fuel for reproduction. Within weeks, your soil's bacterial population multiplies dramatically, creating a living ecosystem that breaks down organic matter faster and makes nutrients more available to plant roots. The particle structure creates what soil scientists call aggregation. Basically, your dirt becomes fluffier and more stable at the same time. Water moves through easily during heavy rains, preventing root rot and waterlogged conditions. Yet during dry spells, those same coffee particles hold onto moisture like tiny reservoirs, releasing water slowly as plants need it. And the weird part is how the grounds change texture as they decompose. Fresh grounds start firm and gradually soften, creating different size spaces in your soil over time. This gives you both immediate drainage improvement and long-term soil structure enhancement. Most gardeners dump expensive perlite or vermiculite into their soil, trying to achieve what coffee grounds do naturally. You're getting professional-grade soil amendment delivered free to your kitchen every morning. Makes sense, right? The bacterial boost doesn't just help plants grow, it actually crowds out harmful microorganisms that cause root diseases. Your soil becomes a competitive environment where beneficial bacteria outnumber the troublemakers, creating natural disease resistance without chemical interventions. Water bills drop because coffee-amended soil holds moisture 25% longer than regular dirt. Your plants stay hydrated between waterings, and you're not constantly running the sprinkler system. But here's what nobody tells you about timing and application methods. Getting these soil benefits requires specific techniques that most people completely mess up, turning their coffee miracle into a plant-killing disaster. Your soil is getting better, but here's where things get really interesting. Not every plant in your garden wants coffee grounds. Some plants practically beg for them, while others will sulk like teenagers denied their phones. Azaleas absolutely love coffee grounds. These flowering shrubs crave the slight acidity that coffee provides, and they'll reward you with more vibrant blooms. Blueberry bushes are another coffee fanatic. They naturally grow in acidic forest floors, so used grounds make them feel right at home. The nitrogen in coffee grounds slowly feeds these plants for months, creating stronger root systems and better fruit production. But wait, there's more good news for vegetable lovers. Carrots grown with coffee grounds develop longer, straighter roots. Why? Coffee particles create those tiny air pockets we talked about earlier, giving carrot roots room to stretch without hitting compacted soil. Radishes benefit the same way. They grow bigger and less woody when coffee grounds improve their growing conditions. Then there are hydrangeas, the drama queens of the flower world. These plants change their bloom colors based on soil conditions, and coffee grounds can intensify their natural hues. The minerals in grounds, particularly potassium, help hydrangeas produce more vibrant blues and purples. It's like giving your flowers a mineral supplement. Well, here's where things get tricky. Not every plant appreciates your morning brew leftovers. Tomatoes hate coffee grounds with a passion. The caffeine residue that remains in used grounds can stunt tomato growth and reduce fruit production. Rhododendrons, despite being cousins to azaleas, also struggle with coffee additions. These plants prefer different soil conditions and can develop yellow leaves when exposed to coffee grounds regularly. And the weird part is, fresh, unused coffee grounds are terrible for almost everything. The high caffeine content acts like a natural herbicide, preventing seeds from germinating properly. That's actually how coffee plants protect themselves in the wild. They drop caffeinated leaves and beans around their base to stop competitors from growing nearby. Makes sense, right? Nature designed coffee as a plant's personal bodyguard. New seedlings are particularly vulnerable to fresh grounds. If you're starting vegetables from seeds, keep coffee grounds away from newly planted areas for at least 2 weeks. The germination rates drop dramatically when seeds encounter high caffeine levels. Even used grounds should be applied lightly around young plants until they establish strong root systems. Let's not forget the timing factor. Spring applications work better than fall ones because plants can immediately use the nutrients as they begin their growing season. Summer applications help retain moisture during hot weather, but avoid heavy applications during plant dormancy periods. The key is knowing your plant's personalities. Acid-loving plants celebrate coffee additions, while alkaline-preferring plants will protest. Established plants handle grounds better than seedlings, and root vegetables appreciate the improved soil structure more than leafy greens. Understanding which plants love coffee sets you up for success, but applying grounds incorrectly can ruin even the most coffee-loving plants. The application method matters just as much as plant selection. You've learned which plants crave coffee and which ones run away from it. But here's where most gardeners mess up completely. They dump coffee grounds like they're feeding chickens. Just toss it everywhere and hope for magic, right? Wrong. The biggest mistake, creating coffee ground pancakes on top of your soil. Those innocent-looking clumps turn into water-blocking shields faster than you can say caffeine addiction. Rain hits them and bounces right off. Your plants end up thirstier than a college student during finals week. Here's the game changer most people never hear about. Mix those grounds into the soil like you're folding chocolate chips into cookie dough. Get your hands dirty, break up the earth about 3 inches deep, and work the coffee in thoroughly. This creates tiny underground highways where water and air can travel freely to hungry roots. But wait, there's a thickness rule that changes everything. Never spread grounds thicker than half an inch at any one time. Think of it like seasoning soup. A little bit enhances the flavor, but dump the whole shaker and you've ruined dinner. Same principle applies here. Then there's the brown material secret that most coffee composting guides completely ignore. Coffee grounds are considered green material in composting terms, even though they look brown. Confusing, right? They're packed with nitrogen and need carbon-rich brown materials to balance them out. Dried leaves work perfectly, so do shredded newspapers or cardboard pieces. The magic ratio, 1 part coffee grounds to 3 parts brown materials. This combination prevents the grounds from turning into a slimy, smelly mess that attracts flies and makes your neighbors question your sanity. Let's not forget the weekly dosage rule that separates successful coffee gardeners from the failures. 1 cup of used grounds per week for every small garden bed or compost area. More than that, and you're essentially poisoning the very worms you want to attract. These little soil engineers can only handle so much caffeine before they pack up and move to your neighbor's yard. And the weird part is what happens when you ignore this advice. Too much coffee creates an environment so hostile that beneficial earthworms actually die off. You'll find their tiny bodies scattered around like casualties of your good intentions. Not exactly the thriving ecosystem you were hoping for. Temperature matters too, though nobody talks about this. Hot, fresh grounds can literally cook delicate plant roots if applied directly. Always let them cool completely first. Room temperature grounds won't shock your plants into early retirement. The pros know something else most beginners miss entirely. Mixing grounds with regular potting soil before planting gives you controlled release benefits without the guesswork. Your plants get steady nutrition instead of feast or famine cycles. Master these burial techniques and you're ready for the real payoff. Because once you've got the application method down perfectly, the transformation that happens next will blow your mind completely. Your coffee grounds start working their magic faster than you'd expect. Within 2 weeks of mixing them into your soil, you'll notice something different about your plants. The leaves get that deep, rich green color that screams, "I'm healthy," and those stems. They'll stand straighter and stronger, like they've been hitting the plant gym. The slow-release nutrient system is where coffee really shows off. Regular fertilizers dump all their nutrients at once, creating a feast or famine situation for your plants. But coffee grounds? They're the steady friend who brings snacks every day for months. The nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus leak out gradually, giving your plants a consistent meal plan instead of one massive dinner followed by starvation. Then there's the disease-fighting bonus nobody talks about. Those beneficial bacteria that multiply in coffee-enriched soil don't just improve nutrition, they crowd out the bad guys. Root rot, fungal infections, and other plant diseases struggle to establish themselves when good bacteria have already claimed the territory. It's like having a microscopic security team protecting your garden 24/7. Your water bill will thank you too. Remember how coffee grounds create those tiny air pockets while holding moisture? That translates to real savings. Plants in coffee-amended soil need watering about 30% less often because the grounds act like thousands of tiny sponges. During summer heat waves, while your neighbors are dragging hoses around daily, you'll be watching movies instead. The weird part is how much your garden waste shrinks. Most people don't realize they're throwing away gold every morning. 6 million tons of coffee grounds hit American landfills yearly, but yours won't be part of that statistic anymore. Plus, you'll buy less commercial fertilizer because your plants are getting fed naturally. Makes sense, right? Let's not forget the earthworm population explosion happening underground. These garden helpers multiply like crazy when coffee grounds are available. More worms mean more of their nutrient-rich castings, which are basically earthworm gold for your plants. It's a positive feedback loop where better soil creates more worms, which create even better soil. But here's where it gets really interesting. Your plants develop stronger root systems overall. Coffee grounds don't just feed the visible parts above ground. Those improved drainage and aeration conditions encourage roots to spread wider and dig deeper. Stronger roots mean plants that can handle stress better, whether it's drought, wind, or temperature swings. The color changes in flowering plants are dramatic too. Hydrangeas shift toward deeper blues and purples, azaleas bloom more intensely. Even your vegetable plants look more vibrant and produce bigger harvests. The minerals in coffee grounds enhance chlorophyll production, which is why everything looks so much greener. Within 3 months, people will start asking what your secret is. Your garden will look like it belongs in a magazine while requiring less work and water than before. The best part? You're accomplishing all this with something most people consider trash. Coffee grounds transform gardens into thriving ecosystems that practically take care of themselves. Your morning brew becomes nature's perfect plant food, proving that sometimes the best solutions are hiding in plain sight.